Hey everybody, it's Esther Goldberg, and it's time once again for That's Estertainment. Oh my gosh, I am so excited. This show is not only my very second show back, but it's my first show with a fabulous celebrity who happens to be a good friend of mine. Today we're going to have the fabulous, the incredible, the legendary Ruta Lee is going to be joining us today, and she's got a new book out called Consider Your Ass Kissed, which, oh God, I can't, my ass hasn't been kissed since the pandemic. But anyway, let's bring this down here. There we are. Hi everybody, how you doing? Oh, we're gonna have so much fun. Anyway, we have so much to cover, so I'm not going to sit here and babble about absolutely nothing because we have such a sweetheart on the show today, and we're going to bring her on right now. It is the incredible, the astounding, the beautiful, I just love her more than life itself, Ruta Lee.
Woo! What a greeting. Oh my goodness. My darling Mrs. Goldberg, may I, because we are such good friends, refer to you as Esther rather than Mrs. Goldberg?
And I'll refer to you as Ruta instead of Miss Lee.
Precisely. We are best friends, and I think the world should know about that. There isn't anything we can't say to each other, is there, darling?
Absolutely. You know, there's a famous video of the two of us that is hysterical. That people, I had it on YouTube, and people play it over and over again. Do you remember this? Do you remember this scene?
No, I don't. Remind me.
Okay, here we go. Oh,
you tramp.
Oh, and she calls me a tramp every year.
Slut tramp.
She calls me a slut tramp. Okay, you have to hear what happened.
What happened?
Okay, you're not going to believe this. When I got here, they had this little millennial intern who had no idea who any of us were, and she thought I was you. I started getting cocktails. I'm going, excuse me, why are you giving me all of this? She goes, well, aren't you Ruta Lee? Am I right? I swear.
Do you know how happy that makes me?
I was like, I go, she has better clothes than me.
But darling, you have such a presence that everybody should take lessons on presence. And I don't mean E-N-T-S.
Look at this. Bitch has already got a cocktail.
Of course.
I swear to God.
Well, I have a divine husband who went and commandeered this.
You know, every year that you and I get together, you're the one interview that everybody gets totally excited about. It's like, oh my God, what is she going to say? I said, she's going to say hello, tramp, slut. She will. She does it every year.
Well, you are, and the point is, you are at the end, you should excuse the expression, the tail end of the red carpet.
Which is where I always want to be, because I get everybody as they go in.
You got it, and you are the one that sets the theme for the evening.
Thank you so much.
You make us laugh and smile and pinch your ass.
Oh, shit, it's still tight. I got a good guy in Beverly Hills. Okay, we're back. We had a moment there. But is that hysterical?
It is fabulous. I love it. I love it. Two loving bitches having a great time together. And
right.
Don't we always? I tell you, my darling Esther, life is so much more wonderful, bright, colorful, with you kind of conducting the orchestra as we sail through every day. Thank you for being in all of our lives.
You're a sweetheart. All right. So you got this fabulous book. I just love it. This book right here. There it is. Consider Your Ass Kissed. After all these years and all the people, I mean, I'm telling you, you've entertained and been friends with everybody from kings and queens and royalty to people like me. And you decided, who made you decide to write a book? Did you wake up one morning and go, okay, I'm going to write it?
No, I'd been thinking about it for probably 10 years. And because I never considered myself a writer, I failed, as I write in the book, typing 4 times in high school. So I could never just sit down at a computer and do this. A friend in Texas, who is a PR maven, Barry Rogers, said, Ruta, the stories you have to tell when you visit on any local radio show or whatever show that we're doing here in Texas. You have such great stories to tell. They should be shared. And I've heard that all my life. And I thought, well, one of these days I'll do it. Sure, sure, sure. Well, he really pushed the envelope, and he flew out from Texas and sat with me 2, 3, 4 weekends in a row. And we literally recorded, Esther, all of my stories. And he transcribed them and typed them, and then came the edit. And I'm very thrilled to say that, yes, I said, oh my God, I should have said more about Lucille Ball. I should have said more about Gene Kelly. I should have said more about Sammy Davis or Frank Sinatra. But there'll be another book maybe. But
Like Shelley Winters.
yes, yes. Fortunately, the editors and the publishers didn't change a word. And so I'm thrilled to death that the comment that I hear from readers is, it was like sitting down and having a cocktail with you and listening to your stories and swapping stories. And I just love that. That means my voice carried onto the black and white of the written page. And I'm very, very grateful for that. And I have to explain, in case, because there are places in the world where to this day I can't say ass. Now, of course, my attitude is, if Jesus could ride into Jerusalem on his ass, I can kiss it, right? And you know why? If you say, consider your beat kissed, it sounds a lot dirtier to me than ass. Let's put it
Thank you very much. So your first, I you know, I was reading it. I got a copy of the Galleys, and but my favorite, it was just, I knew it was going to be fun when I saw the first chapter said, "How I Got Laid on Hollywood Boulevard."
Yes, with Tiger Woods balls flying over my head.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wait, okay, hold on, woman. Hold on, wait a minute. Okay, so you're getting laid on Hollywood Boulevard. Tiger Woods balls are flying over you. Okay, do tell.
Well,
I know this one.
The city made a mistake and issued 2 permits for the same area on the same day at more or less the same hour. And
Right.
Tiger Woods was hitting balls off a tee out in front of Grauman's Chinese Theater, where, thank you God, my star is.
Right.
And down to Highland Avenue. Now, you would have thought that Tiger, seeing all the press and 1,500 people gathered, you know, at my star, would have come over and said hi, you know, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
or whatever. I mean, I had the Hollywood High School band and the drill team and everybody, you know, standing there and playing and doing it. I guess he thought they were for him. But so as I put in the book, sorry, Tiger, next time.
Oh my! And by the way, here's a picture.
Oh, isn't that a fun picture? And look who's behind me, honey.
I
2 of
know.
my favorite people in the world. My darling Debbie Reynolds, your good friend and mine,
Mhm.
and Alex Trebek, my good chum, who did the foreword to my book.
I read that. How?
I'm glad.
Well, that's like so incredible. I mean, Debbie Reynolds, her musical director was my musical director here in Vegas. Joey Singer. Joey goes, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yes.
You know, I write about this in the book. I was in Mexico when my darling Debbie died, which was very foolish of her. And then, of course, her daughter first, and then she. And George Pinocchio, whom you know and is an admirer of yours, he's the red carpet man for ABC television. He's the Hollywood Reporter, and does all the awards and the events. Was down with his wife, and my godson and his partner were down, and they took me aside when we were down for dinner to give me the news about Debbie dying. And of course, I was devastated. And God bless George. He said, can you do a few minutes now here on the wharf where we're having dinner, talking a little bit about Debbie? Well, I was thunderstruck by this happening. This is my best girlfriend.
Mhm.
And somehow it was either Debbie putting her hand on my shoulder or God himself putting a hand on my shoulder and saying, talk, talk about your friend. And instead of the 3 or 30 seconds or 3 minutes that I thought I had to fill, I
Mhm.
filled a good 30 minutes. And George told me that we had umpteen million viewers at that time, because it was going out live on ABC, and it was just absolutely amazing. But what I started to tell you is that I got a call saying that the not the funeral would be on a Friday, on this day
Right.
before, that there would be a reception at Carrie's house for the
Mhm.
girls, all of which was fine and good. But now I was asked if I would do something at the funeral itself at Forest Lawn. By the way, she and Carrie have the most beautiful statue of Martha and Mary, that seems so
Oh.
appropriate for these two
Mhm.
terrific ladies,
Mm.
great broads, as we would say. And I thought it was going to be in the chapel where there would
Right.
be a piano or an organ, and I would sing an appropriate song because Debbie never went to funerals, but she did go to one that for our mutual girlfriend, who was the founder of Redken products, all those beautiful hair products, And when I sang and did the stuff for our friend Paula Kent Meehan, Debbie pulled me aside after the funeral and said, Ruta, if and when the time comes for me, I want you to promise me that you will do exactly what you did here for me.
Mm.
So now, okay, I thought I'll do that at her funeral. We get there, and I discovered that this whole thing is going to be done outside on the lawn in front of this beautiful, mausoleum
Right.
crypt that
Right.
they've got. And no piano, no organ, no nothing.
A cappella.
And fortunately, Todd Fisher, of course, Debbie's son, had brought the singing nun guitar that Debbie used
No way.
to the funeral. And God bless Joey Singer, not only a marvelous arranger, conductor, musician beyond brilliant, but he knew how to play the friggin'
Guitar.
instrument,
Right.
the guitar. So he played for me, and I sang a couple of songs for Debbie. And I keep thinking, doesn't God work in mysterious ways about
Mhm.
putting the people he loves together and having them share moments in life and in death that are important?
Such a
So
small.
I feel like that was such a great blessing. And then, of course, Todd put together an event honoring his mother and sister in the big, huge auditorium at
Mhm.
Forest Lawn. And I swear, no producer in this world could have done a more beautiful job than Todd did, because it was a beautiful extravaganza show with
Mhm.
wonderful speakers, wonderful dancers and singers. They did Singing in the Rain with umbrellas and things on stage. It was
Wow.
absolutely fabulous. And he
Um,
even had R2D2 for the girls.
for Carrie.
Came out.
Aw.
Isn't that sweet?
It
It was
is.
absolutely spectacular. So obviously that talent came from mommy through the genes to her children as well.
Did this make it into the book?
Yes, yes, I did. Not the full story, but a
Right,
little,
right, right. A little piece of it, a little
but
tantalizing.
it felt so good that I could give back to Debbie what she wanted from me. She asked for very little. Debbie Reynolds, I have to tell your viewers, was absolutely the most generous lady I have ever known in my life. Frank Sinatra was the most generous man I've ever known. Debbie was the most beautiful and generous lady I've ever known.
How long were you friends? How long was your friendship started? When
60
did it start?
years, 60
Wow.
years.
Now, the two of you created or started Thalians, and now was
I
it Debbie
was
and
not one of the creators. Debbie was one of the founding members.
founders, right?
Yeah, I came in 5 years later, and Debbie would see that I performed well when I had to. If I was given an assignment or a task, or I took one on, I did
Mhm.
it. I put my work and effort and my work ethic into whatever I promised I would do. And
Now, go ahead.
go ahead, darling.
I was going to say, so I have a lot of listeners and viewers, and that don't know what Thalians is. Could you tell them what the work is and what Thalians is all
Oh,
about?
absolutely. Now, Thayans was a group put together, wow, 65 years ago now, by a group of young Hollywood types that got tired of being called hard drinking, pot smoking, drug induced assholes that had nothing to contribute to society.
Gasp.
And they said, we hang around and have drinks together and sing around the piano and party. Why don't we put something together, sell a few tickets, invite a few people, and raise some dollars for a worthwhile charity?
Mhm.
So who do they send out to find a charity but Jane Mansfield and Mamie Van Doren? Now between the two,
Wow.
it had to be 95D bus size, right? And they
Brought a
back to the next meeting and they said, well, all the good diseases have been taken. So we have a doctor that deals with emotionally disturbed children.
right.
And he described that as a rotting apple in a barrel. And unless you
Mhm.
take out the rotten apple and fix it, it will infect not just the barrel, but the entire community in this case. And so
Amazing.
that's how the Thalians became the sponsors of emotionally disturbed children. And 18 years later, we built the first building that went into the Cedars-Sinai complex, which
Right.
the
I know.
huge edifice
Yes,
here in Los Angeles. And we built the Thalians Mental Health Center.
I know exactly where
And
it is. Right there.
exactly, and we dealt with everything when it came to mental health, from pediatric through geriatric care. And I can't begin to tell you, darling Esther, how wonderful it was to have somebody walk up to me or Debbie and myself in a restaurant or at the grocery store or whatever
Mhm.
and say, you have no idea of how your clinic changed the life of my child, my parent, my brother, my wife. It could be anything. That was reward in itself, for the hard work we put in. But then about 55 years later, we woke up to the fact that we were missing the boat in one area, and that is that we were not paying attention to the plight of the returning veterans, those gorgeous young people that put
Yeah.
their lives on the line for us anywhere in the world that we send them. And then they come up back, and especially when it comes to mental health, fall through the cracks.
Mhm.
And we don't even know. And so we switched our focus and our allegiance, and we joined up with UCLA and Operation Mend. And OpMend takes care of the broken and fractured bodies of these
Mhm.
beautiful young people, while
Mhm.
we Thalians are trying to heal the broken and fractured mind and therefore spirit. And I'm so proud of everybody that has worked for us and with us. And I'm especially grateful to any of those people, your listeners included, who might find that they have $5 to send,
Mhm.
500,000 to send to the Thalians, THALIANS.org, and contribute
I'm going
whatever you can.
I'm gonna
As
put that when this is over, and I sent and I have to edit it. I'm gonna put all that information in, so when people watch it, they can get the URL and everything to donate and to send. Are you still gonna do the? Are you still doing the Thalians Ball Is that
Well, we haven't been able to do
oh,
anything for the last 2 years,
right?
there
Of course.
are stuck. So I've been especially grateful to those people who have managed to send and contribute something. And Esther, Americans, God bless us, we're the most generous people on the face of this earth. And if you just give your story and your need, somebody will help you fill that need. And all I can do to all of those people that do that, whether it be for my charity or somebody else's, please, especially on behalf of the veterans we take care of, consider your ass kissed.
Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned another person that we have to cover because people are going to ask about. I'm looking at some of the remarks here. People just love you already in the comments. But you said there were two people, Debbie Reynolds and Frank Sinatra. Well, I know that you did. Oh God, what was the movie? Sergeants. What was it?
Sergeant 3.
Sergeants
Sergeant
3.
Uh-huh. Which
I
was
was reading.
a Western remake of the classic Gunga Din with
Right.
Sammy Davis doing Gunga.
You can make the sunshine. Sammy Davis, Mr. Bojangles.
So yeah, because in the book you have a whole section on this and all these incredible pictures from the picture.
Yeah. From the picture, exactly. I have to tell you, there's a story that I do in the book, but I'd be happy to share with you, and that is that I got the job in a most peculiar, serendipitous, God-blessed way. I was invited to see Frank Sinatra, whom I'd never seen live. I was too young to be part of the craze in New York when he was an up-and-comer, and girls screaming and fainting and passing out. But I did have all the unrequited love albums that he was doing, and the Come Fly With Me albums, and I played Frank Sinatra morning, noon, and night, which I still do. And I was invited to see him play at the Combo.
Oh
And
wow!
so I went to his opening night, and my host, who took about 12 of us, had the front table, and Frank's orchestra filled the entire Macombo stage. As you know, nightclub stages are really very small. And he was working on a tiny little dais in front of the stage. And there were some of the audience were sitting back around behind him and the little dais that he was on. And and of course I sat there with my mouth hanging open because Esther, that nobody was as enchanting, enthralling, mesmerizing as Frank Sinatra was on that stage. And I sat there with my mouth hanging open watching him. And a note came around to my host saying, "Would you mind bringing Miss Lee over to say hello? I'd like to say hello to her." So we went around to the gentleman who was a little bit behind where Frank Sinatra would have been. And he said, "Hello, Miss Lee, my name is Arthur Hornblow Jr., and I am producing a movie called Witness for the Prosecution. And I have just given you a very unique screen test. I watched you watch Frank Sinatra, and I think you would be a very good love interest for Tyrone Power in my movie, Witness for the Prosecution." And he said, "Can you come in and meet the wonderful Billy Wilder?" And I said, "Is tomorrow too soon?" And he said, "No, come on in," which I did. Marlena Dietrich took one look at me on the film, being blonde, and she said, "No, Nick Nine, forget it. She's blonde." I became a brunette overnight. I became a brunette. That's how I do Witness for the Prosecution. Now, fade out, fade in. If anybody knows anything about Frank Sinatra, it's that he loved nothing more than staying home, doing a lovely big dinner for all of his friends at the house, Italian usually, and running a new film. And what are they running that night but Witness for the Prosecution? And Frank says to his partner at the time, thank God, very good friend of mine, Howard Koch, "I've been watching this Ruta Lee chick on a lot of television, and I think she'd kind of be good in one of our upcoming movies. What do you think?" And Howie said, "Oh, wow. You picked one of my absolute favorites. That's how I got to be the leading lady in Sergeants 3, and Frank Sinatra never knew that the movie that he saw, Witness for the Prosecution, I got because of him. Now, is that a real Hollywood story or what? As I'm sitting there gaping at this marvelous performer, a note comes to the table and that asks my host to bring me over to say hello to this gentleman and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And he is sitting slightly behind where Frank Sinatra was performing. And when I walked over, he said, "Miss Lee, my name is Arthur Hornblow Jr., and I am producing a film called Witness for the Prosecution. And I have just given you a most unique screen test. I watched you watch Frank Sinatra, and I think you would make a very good love interest for Tyro Power, woo, 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 in my movie. Will
Right.
you please and meet Billy Wilder?" And I said, "Is tomorrow too soon?" And he said, "Please come in." So I did. They put me on film, Billy Wilder did. And Marlene Dietrich took one look and said, "Nick Nine, forget it. She's blonde." I became a brunette overnight. Fade out, fade in, after I do Witness for the Prosecution.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Sinatra, if anybody knows about him, loved nothing more than having friends into his home for dinner, usually a big Italian affair, and running a new movie.
Mm.
And what movie are they running that night?
Witness for the
Witness.
prosecution. Get out of here.
He's sitting there. He says to Howie Koch, who is a good friend of mine that I've worked for many times, and his then partner, "You know, I've been watching this Ruta Lee chick on a lot of television stuff. What do you think we put her in an upcoming movie?" That's how I got to be the leading lady to Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis, Peter Lawford, the Crosby Boys, Joey Bishop in Sergeants 3. And Frank Sinatra never knew that he had been responsible for my getting the movie that got me the second job with him. Now, is that a Hollywood story or what?
That's a Hollywood story.
Yeah.
How are you on time, love? Because I realized we lost a few minutes here. We fine? We got a few more minutes?
Oh, sure.
Because I want to, there's so much. I lost when everything went out for some reason. I had the clip of you as Diana in the scene, the Witness for the Prosecution with you and Marlene Dietrich.
Oh.
You walk in. I had it right here, and I can't find it. Hold on, let me see if I can grab it. But I had put it up. I was going to surprise you with it because I thought people would get a kick out of that. Hold on, let me see if I can find it right here. Here it is. Hold on, let me see if I can bring it up. God, I hope I don't lose it. Okay, here. This is the scene. Let's see if we can make this work. Here it goes.
Nice young lady I met in the gallery during the trial.
Oh,
Oh, Len, they've been trying to keep me away from you. It's had me nearly crazy.
Leonard, who's this girl?
I'm not this girl. I'm his girl. Tell her, Len.
Leonard, is this the girl who was with you in the travel bureau? The girl you said you hardly knew, didn't even know her name?
That's right. That's who I am, and I know all about you. You're not his wife, never have been. You're years older than he is. We've been going together for months, and we're going away on one of those cruises, just like they said in court. Tell her yourself, Len.
Yes, Len. Tell me yourself.
All right, Diana, come along.
You can't, Leonard. Not after what I've done. I won't let you.
Don't be silly. I saved your life getting you out of Germany. You saved mine getting me out of this mess, so we're even. It's all over now.
Don't, Leonard. Don't leave me. Don't, Leonard, don't!
Pull yourself together. They'll have you up here for perjury. Well, don't make it worse, or they'll try you as an accessory.
unbelievable. Is that the coolest? I had that lined up for you, so I thought you'd get a kick out of it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Ty Power was one of the loveliest men. And the one that was really absolutely perfection with me was Charles Lawton. And nobody expected that. In fact, I write about it in the book that I think everybody will be very interested in reading.
Oh, really? Oh gosh, this is so exciting. I had no idea. Yeah, my nephew Michael actually played Leonard Vole in Witness for the Prosecution in the stage production. It's like so weird how
Oh,
you and I are connected through so many weird ways, kind of like, from Debbie to this. I don't know. I don't get it. And I had a few clips lined up, and I was just so upset because I had the great scene with you and Lucy and Milton Berle. Have you
oh,
that?
that was such a happy moment in my life. I'll tell you, Lucy brought me so much joy in my life.
Mhm,
Another redhead, Esther, another redhead.
mhm.
You know, you all bring joy into our lives. And I know it's as natural as the day is long, of
Yes,
course.
it is.
But there was so much that I associate with Lucy over a long span of years, that one way or another she touched my life. And I will be eternally grateful. And I'm also eternally grateful to little Lucy uh, when her mother died for collecting a lot of Lucy's silk scarves. You remember that she used to wear all those bandanas and things,
Right.
and giving me a batch of them. And every time I put one on, uh, I
I
think
met
about
her
that friend.
I met her by accident on the Merv Griffin show. I was with a friend of mine, Mel Tillis, who was hosting the Merv Griffin
Oh,
show at the old center there on Sunset on like Sunset and Vine. Remember that old
yeah.
studio there? And I remember I was sitting in there, I was sitting in the green room, and Lucille Ball was a guest on the show that day. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting in the green room by myself, nobody, and in walks Lucille Ball. And I was like, what she goes, hi, I'm Lucy. And I'm like, I wasn't expecting. And then she goes, do you know where Mel and them are at? I go, they're out on the out there doing the sound check. Oh, thank you. And who are you? And I just sat there. I was just, and then she invited us all to play backgammon.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, I used to go to her house along with, her protege, Carol Cook, who is still one of the funniest, dearest ladies in the world,
Right.
and her husband, Tom Troop, and
And
with
Mebnet.
Carol Burnett and the Gaudiers, Dick Gaudier and his wife,
Oh,
Barbara Stewart. And we played charades, which was
God.
her favorite for a very long time. And then she got enamored of backgammon, and she lost me because I didn't play backgammon, but
Speaking of
that's
Dick
okay.
Gaudier, I was looking up some stuff this morning, and you played a nun on the Flying Nun in an episode. Well, you really weren't a nun; you were a con artist.
As anybody has ever seen on a nun. Let's put it that way.
I died. And I was trying to get the clip, but it was weird. I couldn't get the clip, but I thought it was hilarious. You were very funny in that. It was
It
just
was
great.
great fun to do. What's lovely is that Sally Field, whom I just admire so and love, was very kind and was one of our honorees at the Thalians one year.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
not only was she a lovely and gracious honoree, she also did a wonderful promo video for the Thalians, like a 10-minute
Right.
video that we use again and again and again. And I'm grateful to her always.
And another thing that I saw that's in the book that's wonderful, that is so wonderful, and it just touched my heart, was your babushka, your grandmother. You took her on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
Yes, well, they had followed the story of for 12 years, I'd been trying
It's
to
in the
get my
book.
grandmother
People, get the book. Get
out
the
of
book. It's an incredible story.
Siberia.
Mhm.
Yeah, out of Siberia. And then when she was, after 15 years there, permitted to go back to Lithuania, I kept trying to get her out there and kept getting niet, 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 no, 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 from every Soviet authority that I could not get her out. And they had been following this story of my trying to get my grandmother out for a long time.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that after I got her and she was permitted to come to the United States, all because I got a little drunk and disorderly is what I did. The more wine that was poured, the
Right.
more obvious came that I should do something rather odd and dramatic, which I did,
Mhm.
and called Khrushchev. And when I got permission to bring her home to the United States, you know, I talk about this, Esther, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. This little lady, we didn't have jetways then, remember, this is back in 64.
Mhm.
She stepped down off the stairs of the plane, dropped to her knees on the ground, kissed the tarmac, put her hands up and said, "Hello, America. Thank you, God." And it's very difficult for me not to well up every time I even think about it. This 95-year-old lady appreciating, loving, cherishing her newfound life in the United States, where she had always wanted to come.
And ended up on the Tonight Show. That
On the
is
Tonight
unbelievable.
Show, the boys, you know, said, "You've got to come when we come out to California." And there she was, rocking back and forth in her chair. And of course, Johnny didn't know what was going on. And
Right.
she fabulous, absolutely fabulous. And I miss her terribly. She lived 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days. And Esther, the notes that I got and
Aw.
the condolence messages and cards and letters talking about how they all pulled and prayed for me to get her here. It was overwhelming. Again, I say Americans are the most generous people in the world.
So, Ruta, this has been wonderful. I thank you so much. With a couple of technical glitches, but we're going to fix it in post. So, people can get your book. They can order it online. They can get it at the bookstores. What's the best way to get your book?
Well, I think so. Of course, I want everybody to support their local bookstore as best they can. They need the business. Or Barnes and Noble locally. You can put an order in and it'll get to you. Or
Right.
if you're in Hollywood, go to Larry Edmonds. He's got it right on hand, you know.
Right.
And also
Amazon.
Amazon.com, you know. And I
Yeah.
just hope everybody will read and enjoy and know that I say from the bottom of my heart, and in fact from the bottom of my bottom, which is my best part, consider your darling ass kissed.
Aw, you're a sweetheart. Well, listen, I'm sure that was Harlan on the phone going, "Will you tell that old Jew to shut up? She's keeping Ruta on, and she's got other appointments." But listen, I know your ass is heading to Mexico too. So
Yes,
you
it
have a
is.
wonderful
I've
time.
been there for a long time, and you're welcome to come. So now listen, my darling Esther, be it Hollywood or Vegas or Palm Springs or Mexico or Texas or wherever I have libation, you must come and share with me. We'll have a glazel tea, Esther, a glazel tea.
Oy vey. My darling, you are the best. When I get in, I'll get in touch with Judy. And somebody just said, "Look at this." Somebody wrote, look at this. Somebody said, "Enjoy the both of you, gorgeous ladies." Oh. Anyway, my love, buy the book. Buy the book, folks. It's an incredible book. Ruta Lee, you are the best. I will see you soon when I'm back in Hollywood. We're gonna try to do the monthlies at the Hollywood Museum, and then you'll come in and we'll all be
great
together.
idea. I'll help
All
you
right,
the
my
best
love. Everybody, give it up for the absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, fabulous Ruta Lee. There she is. Thank you, love. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Love you.
She is such a sweetheart. She is such a sweetheart. All right, everybody. That's this week's episode. We'll talk to you soon. This is Esther Goldberg with That's Entertainment. And thank you so much for tuning in into the beautiful, gorgeous Ruta Lee. Bye-bye, everybody. Da, 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 da.